Now to organize all this content correctly, I am going to select block tower 1 and with shift plus I select till this top block 4. So I select all these segments here, right click and choose create empty parent, and I am going to call this as block tower in capital. So now this entire block is organized as one game object. I now want to add a poster here of any of the artwork that has been designed from me or just my own photograph. I will come into the hierarchy, right click, come into 3D object, and this time I am going to add a quad. So when I click on quad, a quad is added here, and I am going to name this as photo, and then I will come into transform and first I will reset it to 0, 0, 0 so that it is placed at the center. I am going to rotate this along the y axis by 90 degree. Then I will drag it to the right so that it is just above this wall here. Press F to zoom. I will just rotate the mouse to zoom out. Along the y axis I will lift it up. Along the z axis I will move forward like this, and I will set its position. I will right click, turn, press D, move around and see this gap. So I will slightly move it inside along the x axis so that it is just resting on the wall. I will press F. I will press Alt left mouse to turn around. Then I will come into my project and in Unity profile contents, I will come into materials, my materials, and I am going to right click and I am going to create a new material, and I am going to call this as photo underscore mat. I am now going to drag this material onto this surface. Now I want to add my photograph here or any of my artwork. I will open the browser and I am going to search for my name Sudhindra Satvik, and if I come into the images, you can see the image appearing over here. I will just click here and I am going to right click on this and I am going to open this in a new tab, and I will go to file and I am going to save this as an image in the downloads folder as Sudhi. I will save it. I will come back to Unity and in this my materials folder I will right click and I will come here into import new asset. Coming into download folder, I will select the photograph just I downloaded. Then I will select the photo underscore mat material. By default the material is applied with the white color, but now if I select this photo, click and drag and put it on the base map here, you can now see this color is replaced with my photograph here. Now I also want to add a frame all around this photograph. So for that I will select photo here. I will press Ctrl D to duplicate, press F2, and I am going to call this as frame. I am going to select this frame, come into scale, enable constraint proportion, and I will scale it by 1.1 in all the directions. With this frame selected, I will come here into the materials. By default, photo underscore mat is attached. I will click on the arrow here. I am going to type here red and I am going to select this red color. Right click, turn around, press D and move side, and now you see this red arrow. I will slightly move this back, and also I will drag this frame and make it the child of photo, and then I will select photo and along the x-axis, that is this red axis, I will slightly move it forward, and now my photo with a red frame is ready. I will come to file and save this, And now if I play this game, you can now see that you have your room with a frame and with my photograph. Now whenever I am playing the game, if you come into the game view, you are seeing this only from this angle, because in game view when the user is playing the game, whatever view you are going to see in this main camera, that will be shown to the user. So I will come back to the scene here. So I will select the camera. Automatically in the inspector, along with transform, you have camera, audio listener, universal, additional camera data. 3 components are here. I will come into camera, and to see this effect, I will come into the game view, and now in the field of view, it is set to 60 degree. Now, if I actually increase the field of view, you can now see this is going to become a wide angle lens like this. So if I make it, say for example 140, this appears as a wide angle view camera. Instead of 140, if I reduce it, see this will become a tele camera and you can zoom into the area. So right now I will set this back to 60. Now to set this angle, I will come back into the scene, and with camera selected, I will also enable this camera overlay here, and I will right click on the gizmo and come into the top view, select the camera and come into scene view and press F. So this is the camera. Now if I move it along the Z axis, you can see the camera is moving forward. To rotate it, I am going to press E, and if I rotate it, you can see how the camera angle is changing. Then I will press W, I will drag this and place it with an angle like this. And if I want to move up and down, instead of the top view, I will right click and come into the front view, and I am going to move it down or up to move it up or down. So I will just move and use this angle. If you come into the game view, this is the angle that we are going to see now. If I come into the scene view, I will just zoom in and right click and tilt up, and with right click pressed, I will press A, I will come around, turn around like this with A pressed. Then I will select an angle. I will press E and move up, then A and move side, and I will tilt down. I will press A and move like this. So I am seeing the entrance also, so that I see the entire area. This is the view that I want my user to see when he is playing the game. Now setting this view, if I want my camera to align to this view, I can go into game object. You have align with view. The keyboard shortcut is Ctrl plus Shift plus F. If I press Ctrl plus Shift plus F or click on align with view, now you can see that if you come into the game view, this will be the actual game view. Now if I play, you can now see that your camera angle is set to this desired angle. Now I will stop the playback, come to file, and I am going to save this. I will now come back into the scene view here. To adjust the lighting, in the hierarchy, we have this direction light. And if you come into the inspector, you have 3 components here: transform, light, and universal additional light data script. So I will open this light component, and here the type of light is set to directional, mode is set to real time, and light appearance is set to color. And here if I click on the color, I can select this color. I am going to set this color to white, and then you have the intensity which is set to 0.5. If I make the intensity 1, you can immediately see the scene is brighter. After making these settings in the emission component of light, I will move down and open these shadows, and you have different type of shadows. Currently it is set to soft shadow. I can change it to hard shadow, or I can change it to no shadow. So right now I will set this back to soft shadow, and I can also adjust the strength of this shadow. If I come into the rotation here and if I rotate it along the x-axis, see, as the sun moves from east to west, you can see how the action is going to work. Say for example, if I set the x value to 90, you can see now the sun is exactly on the top and you have minimal amount of shadow. However, if I set the x to around 0, you can now see the sun is at the rising position, and if I set this to 180 degree, now you can see on the other side the sun is at the setting position. So I will set this angle to 120 degree so that it is late afternoon, and I will change the color tint here to somewhat an orangish color so that you can see that this is evening by setting this color value. Now I will close this. Now go to file and save this. If you come into the scene view, right click and turn around. If you just pan around, you see a cloud surrounding our object all around, and we call this as Skybox in Unity. Now, if I want my outside environment to be cloudy or highly sunny, or I want it to be a night star, I can change this by changing the Skybox. If you come into Unity Profile Contents and if you come into Materials, you are provided with a folder called Skyboxes. If you double click to open it, you have been provided with 6 Skybox materials. Now the first one is the sky bright cloudy. So this is the default one. If I select cloudy and if I drag it here, you can now see the atmosphere change to cloudy. If I select gray night and if I drag it, this is going to turn night color with star. Sky midnight changes it into dark. Sky overcast, I can drag it here and you have the overcast sky, and then you have sky sunrise, I can drag it and place it over here. You can get this Skybox 360 degree images from a site called PolyHaven. Coming into your browser, just type PolyHaven and the very first link is polyhaven.com. Come to this site. If you come into assets, you have HDRIs. So if you click on HDRIs, you can see various kinds of HDRIs available here. I am going to select any one of them. Say for example, I select the outdoors. If I scroll down, you can see different types of HDRI files available here. Say now for example, I need to use this Bambanani sunset view. So I can click on this, and on the right hand side, instead of EXR, I am going to choose HDR mode and click on download. I will just open this. This is the HDR file. Coming back to Unity, I will come into my asset Unity Profile Content Textures. Here there is a folder called Skyboxes, and already there are many Skybox textures present here. I am going to right click here, import new asset, come to downloads and select this Bambanani sunset 4K.hdr file and double click it. To create this Skybox, I have to now come into Unity Profile Contents, Materials, Skyboxes, and I am now going to create a new material. So I will right click, choose create, and I am going to create a material, and I am going to call this as Satvik_Skybox. Coming into the inspector in the shader, you can click here, and here you have one option called Skybox, and in Skybox select panoramic. Now here in the spherical HDR, click on select, and here I am going to type Bambanani BAMBA, and I got the HDR that I just now downloaded. I am going to select this, and to apply this to my scene, I can select this Satvik underscore Skybox, drag it into the scene, and now you can see that you are present in this sunset scene. So like this, I can add my own custom HDR and I can configure my environment. I will come to File, save this, and with this we are going to conclude this 3D Essentials section. And in our next section, we are going to discuss about how to use audio in Unity.